Andrew Wilson and Candace Owens went at it today in a debate on the PBD podcast over the Charlie Kirk case. All right, of course, we know Tyler Robinson is on trial. He has been accused of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Well, today's debate was probably around the first debate she's actually taken with someone in opposition of the claims that she's made. Andrew Wilson actually had to pay her $300,000 to participate in this debate, to have her, come out and basically give supports for the claims she's made over the last several. Well, it has been a year, 2 years. She was paid $300,000 to do this. That's a lot of money. She initially asked for $500,000, $500,000, but they settled on $300,000. She got paid. As far as I know, he didn't get paid to do this. But ladies, you can correct me. Here is a clip from the interview, from the debate. We're going to go through this, folks. And get your response, get your reactions. Let us know who you think won this debate. Did Candace Owens provide the evidence to back up the claims that she's made over the last year or so? Take a look here. This is clip 5.
I'm going to share the message with you today, which is the first time this information's ever been publicly revealed. On September 9th, Charlie's security team wrote to him, yes, law enforcement has been fully supportive and agreed to security plan and posture. Tomorrow's event will be covered by both my team and the campus PD. If additional support is required, patrol units will be available. I have 11 on site. Charlie responded with this. Okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th. Whatever could he have meant by that? Well, I think he meant exactly what he said, that he was worried the left was going to try to kill him.
All right. That's how really this whole thing opened up. He laid down some bombshell news that had not been made public. Charlie Kirk sent that text to his security. He is alleging, I believe he got that from Turning Point USA, saying that he was concerned about the left coming at him and trying to take his life. Your thoughts on this, Shelly? I know you've been following this whole thing somewhat closely. What did you think? Did you get a chance to see this? We're going to go through some of the clips. What are your thoughts from what transpired today?
I thought the debate was, I'll say, interesting, number one. But I do want to add a slight possible correction to your opening statement. Okay. Mm-hmm. When this debate offer was first, I guess, presented between Andrew, number one, he offered to pay whatever the amount was. I think it was $150,000, then $300,000. So he offered to pay that, number one. Number two, as far as I could tell, when I went back, the money was supposed to have gone to a charity or some kind of fund for Charlie's kids. So again, I don't know if that was ultimately worked out, but that was part of the initial, I guess, agreement. And Candace did up it to $500,000 because she was being a little snarky, saying, "I think Turning Point is putting you up to this, so I'm going to say $500,000 because I think they have money to spend," or something to that effect. So again, that was the initial offer. Was that it would go to Charlie's kids for some kind of trust fund or whatever. But he did say $300,000. So you can't blame her if that's what he offered.
Well, wait a minute. So let me get into the details. So initially, Wilson, his name's Andrew Wilson, publicly said on Joe Rogan's podcast, or this was around August 5th, between August 5th and 6th, that he had offered Candace Owens $300,000 to debate her positions on the Kirk case, right, and that she wouldn't engage. She denied it. She turned him down. All right. To provide some background, Brian Atlas from the Whatever podcast had earlier floated $100,000 to $150,000 for a debate on his platform. Wilson indicating his willingness to match for neutral ground. So then Candace responded by countering to $500,000, insisting on an in-person debate at her studio, live, fact-checking teams from both sides, and a public claim by TPUSA figures, or Erica Kirk, Blake Neff, or Andrew Colvett, that Wilson was representing them. Wilson rejected and said that that's not correct. I'm not representing TPUSA. That's a lie. She then issued a final offer to accept the original $300,000.
There you go. That's
but on her terms, as I mentioned, in her studio and so on. So then Wilson accepted the uneven conditions, I guess you can say, because it was on her turf after, the public back and forth on X. So
that's the part. She accepted his offer of $300,000. He didn't just give her $300,000 as if she made the demand of $300. I'm just trying to be fair. He came up with that figure, $300,000, not her.
Well, she came up with $500,000, and they settled on $300,000. He would pay her, yes. But either way, I mean, I'm not trying to make a big deal about this, but she got paid $300,000 to debate.
And that's the part, again, that was unclear, because initially there was some talk or some statement about the money going to a fund. Maybe all of it, maybe some of it.
About that fund.
I think that
Nicole,
was.
Have you heard anything about a fund?
I've not heard about any fund where it's going to his children, at least from this money. So,
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So again, whether he said he's going to do it, he offered it, whatever. She got paid $300,000 for this debate. Bottom line, that's what it was. To do this, I mean, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. So let's get into the details of this. So I'll start off by saying, going into this, I initially was really favoring Candace Owens. I thought she was going to wipe the floor with this guy. I had not heard of Andrew Wilson prior to this debate. I did do some research on him afterwards, but I didn't think, I thought that he was not as well spoken as she. I thought that she's very skilled in debate. Whether or not I believe her accusations and claims, I just thought she was going to come off much more polished. I thought that she was going to be able to kind of squirm out of different situations with him and so forth. I watched the whole thing, just about the whole thing today, and I didn't think she looked well at all. I don't think she did well at all. That's my initial feelings on it. Ladies, what are your thoughts before we dig into? We're going to provide you all some clips of what actually occurred. And folks, sound off in the chat. Let us know, do you think Candace Owens proved her case today? Because this was what this was really all about. What are your thoughts, Nicole?
I think all of this is fairly ill-fated. I mean, and for a myriad of reasons, incredibly distasteful. Number one, there's an active criminal case. Can we have a debate about the day before he's sentenced, after the jury has, is deliberating? Can we give the law a chance to work it out first? That's my biggest thing with all of this. And secondly, I agree with you. My assumption was that Candace, being a long-term public speaker, coming up through so many different ranks, doing lots and lots of podcasting, would have had a media kind of upper hand, knowing when to listen for, as we all know from doing man on the street interviews. If someone says something incendiary, you jump on it and you pour a little kerosene on it, and then you make your point. I was taken aback by how many facts she didn't have. And I don't mean that in their typical Candace cliffhanger kind of way, because that's her format for questions, is that she'll answer a little bit and then leave you with a cliffhanger that makes you want to pay attention later. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just her style. That was going to be, I think, her greatest error, because when you're in a debate about something absolutely factual, there can be no cliffhangers. It's either true or it's not true. So I think he had the upper hand in the facts part. She had the upper hand in the shiny part. But then when I watched the pieces of it that I watched, I came away overwhelmingly sad. Not happy for anybody, not, saying, oh man, this was so great, I'm glad I wasted my time. It made me remember all the reasons why we needed Charlie. All the reasons why we needed Charlie. Yeah. And I can tell you definitively, I don't think Charlie would have been pleased with any of this. I don't think this would have been, as much as he liked open debate and people, doing this kind of thing. I think he would have said, if this were someone else, let's let law do its thing first. Let's let the case play out first, and then we can have this debate. But it really just this gaping hole that has been left in our movement because Charlie is not here. What this debate showed me is that hole is real. It is absolutely real. And it is something that I don't know we're ever going to overcome.
Yeah. Yeah. Shelley, what are your thoughts? What did you think of what you saw before we dig into the clips?
I thought a few things. Again, I didn't walk away with Candace won, Andrew won, or somebody lost. I didn't walk away with that. But what I will say is this. I thought Candace actually presented what she believes and why she believes it very well. I think she did that very well. Again, you don't have to agree with her or whatever the case may be. But I also think another thing, I think if you started wherever people started, whether they were Candace supporters or Andrew supporters, that's where most people wound up, or still on those same sides. I don't think the needle moved, I guess maybe too many people, if anybody at all, on either side. I do think that. The third thing is that I left with whether or not, whether or not one believes Candace or Andrew, I did walk away with, you know what? I don't think you can say that she doesn't believe what she's saying, that she's only saying these things just for grifting. I honestly think she believes what she's saying. And that's the third thing. The fourth thing is, very quickly, I think Andrew, how did I write it down? Andrew, I guess, built up, if you will, the prosecution side. Candace kind of knocked down the prosecution side with a defense, again, with whatever she believed. So it was almost as if, again, one was prosecution, one was defense. And so Candace, if you will, was presenting the areas where there could be reasonable doubt. We haven't had a trial yet, but this is how I walked away with it. Not just so much of, Candace was a knockout or Andrew was a knockout.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start and let's go through the clips and see exactly what we saw here today. So looking here at this initial, before we do, I want to get the super chats. I think we have some super chats here, Shelley. All right, let's see here.
We have the Voice of Reason. Thank you for your $10. Let's be clear. Andrew Wilson is that guy. For those who know, they know. The guy is a professional debater, been around a long time, and very, very good at what he does. No one is really ready for Andrew. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Voice of Reason. All right. So let's get into this. So wanted to start off with this first clip because a couple things for me, and ladies, you jump in here. 3 things I wanted to see her. These are claims she's made, and I wanted to hear her supports for these claims. One was, how is Erica Kirk, TPUSA, all of them, how are they involved? She's made multiple claims saying that they are involved. They have conspired in some way with the death of Charlie Kirk. So I wanted to hear her provide the receipts, the evidence, her backup for that. 2, I wanted her to provide how why she thought Israel was involved. Israel and France, actually. She's made claims that Israel and France were also involved somehow with this assassination. And then the third thing I wanted her to provide receipts on is why she says that absolutely Tyler Robinson did not do it. She believes that he did not pull that trigger. He was not the one to shoot Charlie Kirk. And I wanted to come away with understanding why she believes that. not so much why, but because that's what I'm kind of confused on what you said, Shelley. I know why she believes these things. I wanted her to provide receipts, evidence, supports on why she's saying these things and why she believes it. Those are the three things for me that I wanted to come out of this debate with. And I didn't get the answers to any of those. But let's see what you all think. This is the first clip where she's talking about Erica Kirk and where she says that Erica Kirk is complicit in this assassination.
Erica's complicit. If you guys want to play that video.
Yeah. Could also just ask.
And so right now their guys are going out and they're going to look for evidence. And then by May, which is fortunately around the corner, then she'll see what they found. So what the F is that performance? How could you sit up there and say, yes, I 100% believe Tyler Robinson did it. That right there is why it is impossible for me to think that Erica Kirk is not complicit somehow. Because what?
Those two thoughts actually don't even follow. How would it be the case that even if Erica Kirk did believe that Tyler Robinson was 100% responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk, let's say she believed it with every fiber of her being, believed all the evidence, because she did. She just actually did. Would it then follow that somehow she's complicit in his death?
I didn't say complicit in death. You added those two words.
Okay. So what's she complicit in?
Yes. So sowing this narrative that Tyler Robinson is guilty. So you're chopping up clips. Like I said, you didn't have the confidence to come in
tell
debate.
me.
So
What
now
does
you're
that mean?
chopping
What
it
does
up.
complicit mean?
We are showing a clip of her on Barry Weiss, which I can't remember the date that she did that interview. And Erica, when she is asked, "Are you one? Do you feel with 100% certainty that Tyler Robinson did this?" And she says, "I do." Then again, context matters. I sit down with Erica for 4 hours under the assumption that she had some evidence, right? Like I'm like, this is why I did not engage in any like Erica, everyone's questioning what she's wearing and all this stuff. I was like, I'm going to wait here because I don't know, just it feels weird to think that, did I think that some of her mannerisms were weird and stuff like that? Yeah, but that's not, you can't convict somebody on weird mannerisms. And then when I sat down with her and I was expecting for her to say, well, I'm obviously the victim on the case and we got to see the shot, taken or this or that, whatever it is. Great. That's why she has that much confidence 2 months ago. And when I sat down with her, it was nothing. It was nothing. Okay. So this is a conversation.
How would that make her complicit?
Complicit. And again, you said complicit in the death of Charlie Kirk.
Complicit in what? Yeah.
Well, if you let me finish my sentence, I could tell you that. But my point being is that then you take a look at this and you go, okay, well, this is weird. Why would you have this confidence? And then when you sit across from somebody and you say, okay, great, I want to go out there and defend you now. I want people to know that you can't say this stuff publicly, but you know more things. And she just blanks. And then she says, well, I'm going to call the lawyer. And she called the lawyer. Again, all of this is on my show. So out of context clips is not going to work because I know what I say on my show. Okay. So we call her lawyer and her lawyer says to us, she calls him on the phone, pardon me. And it's me, her, and Justin Strife. And I'm like, okay, great. What do you guys have? He goes, well, we don't have anything yet. We're not at that phase yet. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't have anything? And he says, well, don't you know how it works? It's a probable cause hearing. So basically the state says that they're going to bring this forward. And now our people go out and they look for the evidence to assert that Tyler Robinson is guilty. And so I asked her directly, her lawyer directly, the phone's in between us. I'm like, wait, so just so I'm clear, you haven't seen anything that the public hasn't seen? And he says, no. So I'm going back in my head and I'm going, okay, so why is Erica saying with such a degree of certainty, like she was sent out to convince the public and people bit, by the way. I remember even Megyn Kelly was like, let's wait. She's going to have access to things. I did think she had access to things that we didn't have. Why express that confidence to the public as opposed to just being like, we don't know yet. I feel confident he's involved. They made an arrest.
I don't understand. How would any of this make her complicit? And in what?
Well, I've already told you. She's complicit in trying to fool the public into thinking this is some open and shut case.
How is she trying to fool the public into this? If she believes
don't look anywhere else.
That Tyler Robinson killed Kirk, if she believes that, How would that be complicit in anything?
I do.
Are you
believe-
saying that you think she doesn't believe it?
I don't believe that at that stage she sat down with Barry Weiss that's what she believes. No, but that's my opinion.
Right. But so when you just say complicit, you just mean she believes that Tyler Robinson killed Kirk? That's it?
That's what we were talking about. That's why I said if your strategy was to dice up clips and take it out of context and make it
No
seem like I
strategy.
said
You
she
can
was
explain
complicit.
everything.
Yeah, but then why not just play the full thing? Like
You
why?
ain't time for
Because
that.
we don't have like infinite amounts of time, I'm guessing. You probably don't want to
Well,
watch.
I'm going to go back.
All right. So, Nicole, what did you think of that exchange? So so it ended up being she's saying that she felt like first we all know she's been saying that Erica Kirk has been involved in this somehow. Okay. He asked her about it, and what does it mean she's complicit? She says she's complicit in trying to convince the public that Tyler Robinson did it when she knows he didn't. Did it make sense to you, Nicole? Did she say that? Or what did you think out of it? What did you get out of it?
What I got out of it is that Candace was exactly what I said she was going to be. And Andrew was exactly what I said he was going to be. What he was looking to do is to narrow her down to the words in the agreed upon meaning of English words, right? Well, Candace uses language in a way, and there are lots of memes that you can see on the internet. She uses language in more of a liberal kind of way, more of a leftist kind of way, where words' meanings kind of shift from left to right, depending on what she's trying to say. Andrew hung his hat on the word complicit. So when you say someone is complicit in something, that means they had an active role with intent to participate in whatever they're complicit in. Well, for Candace, that's not what complicit means. For her, complicit means that, Erica should not have a 100% belief that Tyler Robinson killed her husband, because if she's thinking the way that Candace thinks, the facts don't support that 100%. You could say, I think maybe we're waiting on some information. So from Candace's point of view, it doesn't make any sense for you to be 100% on board with Tyler Robinson having murdered your husband in front of you and your children. Right. Only if you know things that the rest of us don't know, because by my estimation, the facts don't support that. So again, complicit means something completely different to her than it means to most people. This is what you saw throughout this debate, that her understanding of language is very different than Andrew's understanding of language. Again, what I said this was going to be, her being very shiny, very slick, and him being very matter-of-factly. This is why the needle didn't move, because her supporters are very accustomed to that cliffhanger, shiny, heavily produced thing, and his supporters are men who like facts. Yeah,
who doesn't like facts? I mean, men don't.
Well, have you seen her followers?
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
But this is a perfect personification of what happened this entire debate. He wanted concrete facts. She wanted to give her opinions about facts based on what she believes facts to be. And again, facts don't mean the same thing to these two people. Complicit doesn't mean the same thing to these two people. It's like having a conversation with someone who doesn't have English as a first language. So words don't exactly mean the same thing to each person. It was a very interesting case study in that regard. However, whether or not Erica has 100% the information available publicly, plus some information in the background, she's entitled to her opinion just as much as Candace is entitled to her opinion. I think Andrew could have hammered that home a little bit, but again, he was hung up on complicit. He hung his hat on that word, complicit. Candace was like, complicit, it doesn't really make a difference. I
think he hung his hat on it because, and maybe I'm a lone wolf here, it didn't make sense the way she was using it to me. When you take into context everything that she has said, it was like to me, it was a cop-out. It was, she was trying to make it mean something else than what we all know she's been saying it means. But Shirley, what are your thoughts?
On this part or the next question? Because you guessed for 3.
Well, the part we just saw.
Okay, so the complicit part, that part of that exchange, as far as the debate was a little, I don't know, confusing to me. Number one, she did correct him, is that he added complicit in death, or in his death. She did not say that, at least in that clip. She did not say that. I don't know if she's ever said it or not, but at least in that clip. So that, but it did make it confusing, because I think he was asking, okay, what does that mean? She never really nailed down complicit in what, that big X, if you will. So that part of the exchange was a little confusing. This is where I would have thought PBD maybe would have asked for a little bit more clarity or a little bit more specificity. I know he was a moderator, not trying to say much, letting them take the debate wherever it led. But I think this is one area where we should have gotten a little bit more clarity. So this part was confusing to me as well. Although, again, I know people, at least in this clip that I saw today, she did not say complicit in death, as Andrew added those words. She made that clear herself.
So what did she say? Folks, we've been watching her for the last over a year, talking about this. What does complicit mean, and what did she say? Well, here's what she said. Take a look here. This is what she's been saying over and over again. I hate when people are not just clear. Just say what you mean and mean what you say. It's just to me, it's just like when people have to use the mere fact that we are picking and choosing and trying to decipher this and trying to decipher that about just natural stuff. It goes to show how slippery and how just, this is just annoying. But let's go on. Here she is, what she's been saying that all over the last couple of months.
Amount of evidence that is now piling up against Erica Kirk. I've seen enough. Erica Kirk should be dragged into a police precinct. The assassination of Charlie Kirk was something akin to a regicide, right? The assassination of a king to install a new ruler who the king would have never approved of. Turning Point USA for Erica Kirk, and what I think is fair to refer to as their federal accomplices. Anyways, back at headquarters, I am told it's business as usual. And it's kind of giving me like, I don't know, LBJ when he gets sworn in that famous picture. Unfortunately, sworn in. Unfortunately, of course, he's sad in this photo. Gosh, he's obviously not wanting to be the president of the United States. JFK was shot and killed. And now LBJ has to step up, unfortunately. But I got to be honest, I wasn't there. I don't think LBJ was actually that upset. JFK, right? Knowing, as I do, and as Charlie did believe that LBJ was involved, which then implicates the feds, because she loved Charlie. She loved him like Lyndon Baines Johnson loved JFK. No time to grieve. She needed to be sworn in as the new leader before his body was even cold. She's a grieving widow. And she's forced to assume his role and reverse everything that he did, like LBJ did after JFK's death. Malevolence. I continue to underscore what Elizabeth Lane, the reporter, stated in her post, that in her opinion, Erica Kirk exhibits the attributes of a psychopath, that Erica Kirk might be a psychopath. Erica Kirk is a psychopath. A psychopath is the best answer that I can come up with, my assessment that she's a psychopath. Erica Kirk, and to continue to pretend that anything she has done is normal, to pretend and act like she is a grieving widow when she is anything but. She plots behind the scenes. She sends people to fall on the sword for her. She's more akin to Cersei Lannister. This woman was not actually a grieving widow. She wasn't a grieving widow. That actually, one could argue that she may have even been a psychopath for doing this, being able to do this after she killed her husband. Do you know how they built that case? People who actually cared about Eric and offered various details, and to the point that, well, none of these points in various details about how Erica is grieving would ever survive in the court of law. Ironically, in this case against Corey Richins, for which she was ultimately found guilty, the prosecutors played the 911 call and said explicitly that it didn't sound like a grieving widow.
The first minute is...
I can't even hear any. Complicit. This is not hard. This is not hard. Oh my gosh. Why are y'all letting this woman try to make understand vocabulary and understand that she literally been saying this for months?
We know that she's implying. It has to be. It can't be that Erica. If you say, what is she complicit in, Candace? But she did not answer. No, she did not
answer it. She did.
She did not say to her death.
She said that she's, which I don't believe she believes right now. She's saying that she was saying that that Erica Kirk was complicit in believing that Tyler Robinson was the killer, and that Candace believes, because Erica believed that, she's complicit in pushing that out to the public.
Now, see, I didn't get that. I didn't get that.
Let's play it again. No. She literally said that.
Listen before you play it. What I'm saying is that I thought she meant, when she kept saying complicit, even though she didn't use the words in death, I got the impression that she was implying that Erica Kirk and TPUSA murdered Charlie. So I'm more straightforward than she is, or what you're saying.
Yeah, we all know that's what she was saying, but then she lied in this debate. She's trying to act as if she was not saying that. That's all I'm saying. She's acting as if she didn't say it, and she clearly did. She's been saying it for months. Let's move on. All right. So let me see here. So the next part that she talks about extensively, they talked about, was Israel. Candace Owens has been saying for the last year or so, Israel was somehow part of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Well, in the debate today, Andrew Wilson asked her about that. And where's the evidence? And here she is in her response.
Question.
Yeah. Do you have any positive evidence whatsoever that Israel killed Charlie Kirk?
Well, I couldn't say Israel was on the ground and shot and killed Charlie Kirk. I would say that there are various things that we're trying to establish, one being a motive. And since I don't believe that Tyler Robinson and his transferee is a convincing motive, because he was fired up about politics, which Lance testified that he never spoke about with him, nor do I believe that he was so into LGBTQ issues, since Lance testified they never spoke about LGBTQ issues, that he stopped and ate at Chick-fil-A, which, if you are into LGBTQ issues, wouldn't be your lunch before you go kill Charlie Kirk for LGBTQ issues, because,
Yeah, but do you have positive evidence?
I'm answering the question as I feel like I want to answer it. Like I said, you don't get to, for an hour and a half,
but the question I'm asking is about positive evidence.
I'm telling you that in any case, establishing a motive. And
has she answered the question? Yeah, I just want to ask you both. Has she answered the question yet, Nicole?
She has not.
Shelley?
No.
Okay.
And again, I already explained this at the top of the show, but the reason why people find Israel to be an interesting question is because, truthfully, Charlie's perspectives were changing on Israel.
Sure.
And he was starting to realize how much pressure was being put on not just our government to constantly fight their wars, but also being put on his organization personally. If people had come out and been honest about that, rather than rabid claiming he never flinched and everybody's lying and this is not true, you would probably have people that just go, that's life. People change their opinions.
I understand.
And then there was the rabid, not even that. It's like everything was about trying to convince the public how much he liked it.
So then, other than intuition, how you feel about things, do you have any evidence Israel was involved in killing Charlie Kirk?
I have already said, and if you're watching my show and the context of what I said, this is the general sense of why
she kept saying that over and over again as well. Or if you watched my show, we brought you on here to debate so you could support your claims. We didn't want to watch your show. You've been making these accusations for over a year about this stuff. Now support your claims. Why are you saying if we watched your show? That didn't make sense to me.
People think Israel's involved. Nobody has made the claim that Israelis, there were also, obviously
Ian
Joe
Carroll
Kent
made the claim.
Well, Joe Kent, who I think would have the right to assert it, noted that there were 12 Israeli cell phones on the ground that day. I think most people would like to probe that. Now, it could be maybe they were students, and they were Israeli students in Utah that day. but we'd like to probe that narrative because what we've seen after coming from the Israeli government, the Israeli prime minister, kind of denying that he did it, which wasn't really necessary, was quite busy. The phone call that happened, which no one wants to discuss in the Hamptons the week prior, or not the week prior, I think it was around August 5th or 6th that took place.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the almost desperate lies about Charlie shifting opinion on Israel lead us to believe that there could be an Israeli angle in this. But we cannot say for certainty that Israel called the shots and this is how it happened. But it is definitively, I think, a thread that a lot of us would like to see
there's no
pulled.
positive evidence.
Whatever you want to say, however positive, negative, however you want to say it.
Well, like positive evidence
I can just
would
have
be
a conversation.
Material evidence and other evidences, which would
what
point
we've said
you to
is on our show is what we've said, which is this feels like a conspiracy building. There's no reason to lie about these things, and yet people are lying. BB ain't acting right. The Hamptons thing was weird, and the way they tried to shove the Israel narrative down our throat immediately. I mean, the day he died, posting a picture of him with an American and Israeli AI'd photo on the president's feed doesn't feel right. So.
Do you have any evidence that Erica Kirk?
Okay. Did you hear any evidence, Shelley? Did she say anything there?
What she said was the same things I think she's been saying for the last 11 months or so. She mentioned, Benjamin Netanyahu coming on the news so soon after Charlie was murdered. A couple other things. I don't even remember all the things she said. The different explanations. Everyone's running the Hampton meeting, or maybe some of the text that Charlie had mentioned about him withdrawing from the Jewish, I don't know, caucus, whatever the word is, may be. Those were the pieces of, I guess, her evidence, what she would label as evidence for why she is, I guess, saying that Israel, maybe and France, but certainly Israel is complicit in this, whatever this is, because she didn't say to death, but whatever this is.
Nicole, is that evidence?
No.
Is that evidence?
It's not evidence. And this is why, again, they're playing these parts. So she's talking about, and you hear her say it if you're listening very closely, I just want to have a conversation. She's not looking for facts. She's telling you, she's emoting her feelings, her opinions, and she's using it in a circular logic kind of way. And he's asking her for definitive proof. He keeps using the term positive evidence. Again, language plays a really big part in this debate, so to speak, because he's trying to nail her down to the definitions that we all know and love that make it easy to communicate effectively with people. And Candace is saying, well, no, I don't want to say that. What I want to say is my opinion of these things. And if you don't like my opinion or you want a more direct answer, you need to watch my show. Now, let's have that conversation. And I know that sounds weird to people, but remember, the reason why she's doing this is not to bring clarity. Her hive already believes everything she says. They're waiting for the day where she's going to drop receipts, and she has fans that will wait up until and inclusively the day after her death to hear these receipts.
Wait a minute. So Nicole, if she's not doing this to bring clarity, then why is she doing it?
She's doing it for this. For clicks. This is what she's doing it for. This is what she's doing it for.
So if she's doing this for clicks, do you believe then that she does not, do you believe she believes what she's saying?
Oh, she absolutely believes what she's saying, without question believes what she's saying. But her point of doing this debate had nothing with bringing clarity. From her perspective, she's been crystal clear. From her fans' perspective, she's been crystal clear. What she's saying, and you'll hear her say this after every little segment, is you should go and watch my show. For her, this is a huge commercial for her show. And I'm not mad at her. From a marketing perspective, this is genius. So people who have given up on her, who said, Candace is a crackpot. She's super jealous of Erica Kirk. She always wanted Charlie. Charlie rejected her. All people would say all the stuff they want to say. But for her, this is like, maybe I can, pull some people back into the fold. Maybe I can convince some people to at least watch the show and hear my point of view, and maybe they'll agree with my opinions. Her reasoning for being there completely different than Andrew's reason for being there. So that's why I'm not really calling it a debate. This is really a conversation by two people who had two different reasons for doing it. And that's why it's disjointed. And that's why it didn't really move the needle for either group, because she played to her audience, he played to his audience, and no one else got to benefit from anything other than seeing that we really, really, really miss Charlie.
Yeah. Here's another clip on this. Take a look here.
Participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I've never said they participated in the.
Do you have any evidence that Erica Kirk or TPUSA participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I've never said they participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk. So how could I say that I have evidence they participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Okay. So then you don't believe that they did?
I never have said that statement. So I'm not going to get you to ask me personal questions about things that I've never said on record.
Okay, fair.
Your team is sending messages in the back saying they have a video they want to play.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know what the video is. Yes, you said that there's a video you want to play that Candace said she has full confidence Israel was involved.
Yep.
Yeah. He said evidence that they killed him. I said
There she goes again!
Involvement.
So she
If they have the clip,
Yeah,
they
they
can
got
play
the
the
clip.
clip.
Yeah.
They're referring to a clip.
Via who? My guess is Pierre. Erica. I think that there's a reason Pierre knew that Charlie was dead first. I think there's a reason he was a priority. How? Why? I think France and Israel are involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I'm going to put that out there with full confidence.
Okay.
I also
Involvement.
I understand.
Yeah.
So you
That's-
think you with full confidence, you think that
Yeah. I think
that
Israel's
France
involved.
and Israel.
Yeah. I mean, the person that gave me that thing that I reported said that French Foreign Legion were on the ground that day.
Mhm.
Again, this would be at a professional limitation for me to then go and probe that information that I handed over. I can't do that. I'm not
But
the
you
United
don't have
States
any
government.
positive evidence of
Okay,
that.
okay.
right?
Liz, I don't. Can you just stop? It's actually just like annoying to hear you keep saying positive evidence. I've just asked me what I think, and I just tell you, yes, I think they are
that's
involved.
a claim.
No, I said here's what I think.
I have every
I
right
think-
to ask you about your claim.
Yeah, but
and if
I
there's
said
positive evidence
in
for
this
your
statement,
claim.
I literally just said I think, and I am allowed to think. And
Yeah,
you
you're
keep
allowed
saying,
to
do you
think,
have
but you're
positive
making a
evidence?
claim.
I have tons of positive evidence that I'm allowed to think. Yes.
I agree. You're allowed to think.
Okay. So
Nobody's disputing whether or not
yeah, but
Candace
like
Owens is
you're-
allowed to
you're-
think. What
you're-
I'm asking is
but
you have
what's your issue then?
positive
What is your issue with the statement?
evidence.
I think
Uh-huh.
that Israel is involved.
That's
I
not
do.
what. That's not just what you said. You said
I did
that
say I
it's with
think.
it's with full confidence.
Yes.
You would
I
think that if you had full
can you have confidence
confidence,
to think when you think?
if I said, for instance, I think I'm going to be late to work, right, with full confidence, I would say my evidence for that is that I'm 20 minutes away and I need to be there in 5.
Andrew,
That's how you would know whether or not you had full
I'm just
confidence.
going to tell you something.
Hang on, let me finish.
Sure.
If it was the case that I said I have full confidence I'm going to be late to work, I would say my evidence that I'm going to be is that work is 20 minutes away, right, and I have to be there in 5. So I have full confidence. That's why I would think that. So I'm asking if you think that Israel and France were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you say with full confidence, I'm just asking for the evidence, or at least walk me through the mindset of why it is that you could think that with
I actually
evidence.
don't have to walk you through why I think. I can give you something that I think with full confidence. I think with full confidence that you lost the substance of this debate, and now you're moving toward things that I have said that I think, which I can do. I'm
They're
allowed to think
pertinent to
that.
this debate.
It's not exactly pertinent to this
It's
debate.
100% pertinent.
It's not pertinent because our debate
These are claims
claims
made about Charlie Kirk's assassination. That's the complete substance of the debate.
Actually, would you like to remind him of what our debate claims actually were?
And would you like to remind
You
that you
said-
said I could ask you about any of these things
I
to my
said
heart's
feel
content?
free, but you do not get to structure how I'm allowed to reply or ask me
I'm
why
not
are you allowed
structuring
to
how you're
think.
allowed to reply. I'm just asking you direct questions.
I have full confidence that you do not feel that you represented your claim well. And so now what you came
That's
prepared
nice.
to
I just
do is
wanna
to
know-
present yourself like a professor of
I
fallacies
just want to know.
and to say, you're not allowed to say that. You can't. It's
You
my
can say
podcast.
whatever you want. Nobody's
I said
disputing that.
It
I'm
seems
asking.
like you are disputing it.
asking
I think that
specifically
when this
why
is
you
all
think
said
that.
and done, I've already explained to you. I explained at the beginning of this
Mhm,
why I think Israel is ultimately going
France.
to be proven to have involvement in this.
mhm.
I just explained to you in the middle. And now you're wanting me to structure the sentence or provide evidence. You don't have to, you're just allowed to think. And I've explained to you my thought process. I don't need to.
KJ,
Oh
that
my
was epic.
gosh.
That was absolutely epic. If you didn't get dizzy from listening to that, I don't like that circular reasoning was like swooshy, 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 swoosh. But to Mr. Wilson, to Andrew's credit, he continued to be linear with her. And the more linear he got, the more narrow that space got. You saw her try to spin harder and harder and harder and harder. And it got to the point where I think everybody in the room was like, well, wait a minute, somebody hit the pause button so we can get our equilibrium, going here. It is remarkable to me. Again, I don't know, I don't know what their negotiated terms were for this debate, but she's clearly there for a different thing than he is. Clearly there for a whole different situation. She's trying to have a conversation. She's emoting, she's giving her emotions. She's giving her opinions. And as we heard her say no less than 8 times, I got tired of counting, that her opinions don't require facts because they're her opinions. I mean, she can think whatever she wants to think, and then she can present it on her podcast however she wants to. And she's absolutely right in that regard. But in a debate, it's supposed to be about facts. And that's what he keeps trying to nail her down to. And she's like, oh, no, you're not going to nail me down to facts and evidence. I'm going to tell you how I feel. So we're having 2 different conversations here, on one so-called program. Too much.
Yeah. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
Again, I'm going to agree with Nicole. I think that Candace, what I started off earlier saying, when I started the first thing, I think she presented whatever her facts, evidence is for her propositions, her claims, and that's the standard that she's meeting. She's presenting, I guess, largely the same thing that she does present on her podcast. Mm-hmm. However, I'm not calling this a debate. Only reason I'm not calling it a debate, it seems more, I guess I would say it seems more one way, in that Andrew really was asking her more questions, trying to pin it down, whatever the case may be. So that's why I'm not calling it a debate. That's why I'm saying there's not necessarily a winner or a loser. But again, she's presenting whatever she's presenting, and I'm saying she presented it well because she's very consistent with how she presents it on her show. That's it. Again, it's not for us, I guess, to understand and follow. This is just it. This is just how she does.
Yeah. I think, again, she has presented much of her reporting on this as if she is an investigative reporter. She actually said that during this exchange, not this one, but during the debate. She said that, she's an investigative reporter. She's got sleuths all over the place. She's investigating this. And and the claims that she's making, they're much more than opinion. They're much more than what she's trying to say in this exchange, in this debate. And so to me, that's, again, has sort of lessened the value of what she's saying. I mean, for people, because many people listen to her because she pushes this information out like this as fact, as investigative information, not opinion. We on here, we're opinion. We look at the news, we look at issues, and we provide critique, analysis, opinion on issues. We're not investigative reporters for the most part. Now, there may be small projects that we may take on and we say, okay, we've put forward an investigation on this issue. Here's what we investigated. This is what we came out with. This is what our claim is at the end of this investigation. That's what Candace Owens has been doing. So I don't understand how anyone can look at what she's put forward in this debate today and say she did a good job when she has put herself out here as an investigative reporter. And the standard for her was not to come on here and push out more claims. It was to provide the evidence for the claims that she has put out, and she didn't do that. She came on here and spun again. Now,
Which is what she does.
Job at spinning. If that's what you think was the goalpost or the standard of whether she did a good job, okay, she did a good job at spinning. But if she's on here as an investigator within surrounding this case, she didn't provide any evidence for any of the claims she's made. So how can she have done a good job?
She was consistent with what she does, and this is what she does.
What did she do?
Whatever.
Spin.
But my point
So how is that consistent when she's supposed to be an investigative reporter on this case?
Because it's consistent for the purpose that she came on here for her audience to continue putting out the evidence, whatever claim she has. That was her goal. I'm saying she did a good job.
You're saying that her goal is not to prove this.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I'm asking. Are you saying that what are you saying her goal is? Because I'm confused.
Her goal is to continue investigating, as you said she's called herself, investigating, getting her, I'm saying facts or her claims, whatever evidence she presents on her show. And that's to keep moving that ball, if you will, I guess, at least until the trial is over, whenever the decisions are made. Or
what's the end goal of her?
I don't know what her end goal is. I do not know what her end goal is.
What do you think it is, Nicole?
Exactly what she's doing. This was a commercial for her podcast. Again, let's go back and look at my podcast on my show. Look at my podcast. What I said on my podcast. She says that over and over and over again.
Right, she did.
And any opportunity that she has to market that program as not necessarily factual, but where you'll see her fans talk about, well, she's not presenting evidence in the traditional sense, because again, evidence, when we're using language that's commonly believed, is based on fact, right? It's something is a fact. She presents ideas that we can then, if we string them together in a certain way, it brings in all of these other ideas, and we'll put our opinion and some emotion on it. And then next week, we'll look for the receipts for that particular thing. This is what she does. She's done this her whole career. This is not new. There's a way of presenting information like Andrew did, the beginning and end of the point. She's a cliffhanger kind of girl. Tune in next week to see who shot JR. With all the buildup and all the stuff that happens, this is who she is. She's done this her whole career. And I'm not mad at her. It's made her incredibly wealthy.
Right. I get what you're saying. Well, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm not mad at her. I'm not going to say I'm not mad at her, because I personally believe that it is disgusting to make money and off of how she's doing this. She's accusing a widow. She's accusing the children of Charlie Kirk. I'm of the mindset that everything is not good money, and the money that she is making off of this is at the expense of a family. I don't believe that she's doing this with a good heart. She's doing this at the expense of a company, of a legacy, of a family. So I can't say that I'm not mad at her. I can't say that.
I'm not mad at her. I don't mean at the things she's saying. I'm talking about the process in which she's making her money. I'm talking about this from a strictly business point of view. Again, she's not there to debate in the sense that we understand the word debate. She said repeatedly she's having a conversation. And then she gets very angry when Andrew is trying to nail her down. And she says, you're not going to do that to me. I'm not going to answer the way you want me to answer. And you keep saying, positive evidence. I'm not doing that. I'm going to tell you how I feel. And this
why not say that though? I think there are so many people in this space online that present themselves as that, where they're saying, hey, this isn't an investigation. This is my analysis. This is my critique, my opinion, and leave it there. But she's presents herself as this is fact. She said they got the wrong guy. And she's making it sound as though she has presented evidence on this, and she clearly hasn't. Why not do that?
But because then you have to go back, KJ, and watch the episode before, because if you're a clear thinking person and you're watching her show and you're like, well, damn, I must have missed last week's cliffhanger where she presented the receipts. So guess what you do? You go back and you watch the show. Click, 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 click. This is a part of her business plan. And again, I'm not mad at this business plan. To be truthful, it's absolutely brilliant on her behalf. What has happened to the quote unquote evidence is what Andrew was there for. Andrew was there to get her to say Erica Kirk had nothing to do with Charlie's murder. He was there or to nail her down where she had some evidence that said Erica had something to do with it. Some of the clips that were shown in rapid succession, what we saw was how her opinion started at like this little tiny nugget and it grew into this big snowball of, vastly other opinions. This is just how she operates. I'm not saying that she's wrong or she's right. This is just who she is. It just is what it is. The whole thing, though, seemed to me, again, like she was there to have a conversation and he was there for a factual debate, two different, goals in the end. So that's why I don't think it moved the needle for either camp.
All right. We have some super chatters here, Shelly. Oh. Let me see. I thought we had some here.
We do, looks like.
Okay, here we go.
We have Velvet Jazz. Thank you for your $10. I spent all my hypes last week on your podcast. Keep up the great job, ladies. Thank you, Velvet Jazz, for that. Thank you for joining us tonight. Blah blah Black Sheep. Thank you for your $50.
Thank you.
I watched her while she was on the Daily Wire, talking about Candace Owens, and when she started becoming aggressive towards Israel, Ben Shapiro was at a private party and was asked a question about her. He called her a faux sophisticate. Yeah, I remember that. That started it all. So it was a Jew.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
And we have an Evie here. I thought we're not reading these. Okay. 10 Jules. Thumbs up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, folks. Again, your super chats go a long way in keeping us online and helping us with this content. We appreciate your support, folks. We're not getting $500,000 and $300,000 for a debate, okay? So you guys are what keeps us going, and we really appreciate it. Each super chat goes a long way for us to continue to do this. So definitely, we appreciate your support. All right. We're going to do just a couple more clips here just to go through this. Let's talk about what the whole thing was supposed to be about, Tyler Robinson. Scrapping Beauty there says, look at body language. He destroys her. All right. Absolutely. Thank you, Scrapping Beauty. Okay. She did, bring up some stuff about Tyler Robinson, and let's talk about that. Let's see here. So let's talk about where she this thing about the steakhouse, this receipt. So let me see here. One moment. Okay, here she is.
My other question is about the steakhouse receipt.
The receipt was published online.
Yeah, right. With blurred out.
The person working on this story.
Yeah.
That blurred that out is what I was referring to when I said stay tuned and keep following his stuff, because he went to go do what I hadn't done, which was he interviewed the actual server.
So there's no evidence that Tyler was at that steakhouse?
I would say the receipt with his debit card number, it would be some hard evidence if that
I agree with that.
Yeah, so that's it. But you're questioning me.
But is there, as of right now...
He paid, if you're asking me, did he pay with a credit or debit card? The answer is yes.
No. Is there proof that that was actually his debit card that he paid with?
I think you should follow the person that is behind that story.
Well, the reason I'm asking you is because you always include it in your timeline that he traveled to the steakhouse.
Yeah, we've been building a timeline with things that we feel are
but is there any actual
Utah
evidence?
1102 approved. I think speaking to the owner, knowing that there's a receipt, seeing the receipt is good enough to put on our timeline.
But the receipt itself, the question I always had about it is, couldn't you just call the merchant? Like if I've ever had a merchant account, I just call the merchant account processor and say, what's the name on this?
Yeah, I would stay tuned. I feel that the haven't spoken to the owner, that the evidence is compelling enough to put onto my personal timeline of what took place on that day. That's where it's going to stay. And if it gets debunked, I'm happy to take it off. If that's what you mean, that's how an investigation works. That there is very strong evidence that is where he was. And that
What's the strong evidence? Just the two people who said that they saw him?
You know, I'm actually all good with being, I feel like I've sufficiently answered your question about how I got
All
the
right,
information, what happened next, with the next stage of this investigation being somebody accessing knowing what his debit card was and confirming it. Yes. And I do believe that will happen. If it does not happen and it gets debunked, I'll remove it from my personal timeline.
All right. Again, it's I just, folks, I want to be honest. I went into this wanting to get to the bottom of this stuff. I thought she was going to come with more evidence than she did. But Shelley, what are your thoughts on that exchange?
I actually, this is part of the debate or discussion. I don't understand why Andrew kept pushing that point. Okay, all she said was that she had spoken to, I think, the owner, and I don't understand how he was pushing it to say, okay, it's on your timeline, whatever, it's her timeline, whatever the case may be. She says she spoke to the owner, or I don't know if it was one or two other people she spoke to. So I didn't really see what the point was of just this particular part. I just didn't see the point of it.
Well, what's going on here is, and I may be wrong about this, I don't think she's talked to the owner. I don't think that she's gone to this restaurant. She found someone else who claimed that they had gone to this steakhouse restaurant and confirmed with the owner that Tyler Robinson was there. Okay. But she has no evidence to this. She has not seen the receipt. Nothing. There was a photographed receipt dated September 10th, 2025 that showed an order time of roughly 8:55 and a payment around 9:47 p.m. Okay, but this was something some online investigator found. However, they did not confirm his card. They did not, none of this has been confirmed. But she's like, you know, again, banking everything on this, and she has not verified any of it. And so that's why he was trying to get her to, you know, say, well, where's the verification on this? You're banking on this as a big thing, and you haven't provided any verification.
Is this the same section? I think when she was saying that she has sources, and he wanted her to, I guess, name the sources that she was talking to, who she's been talking to.
No, this one was, I think this was one where it was somebody online who.
No, I'm talking about in this part of the discussion between them two. I don't know if this was that part or that segment, but there was part of the segment when she said she had sources, and he, in my opinion, he kept saying, well, name your sources. And I thought, most people don't just name their sources, particularly if the sources want to remain anonymous. So I don't know if this was that section, but I do remember.
I don't know about that, but generally if you have a source, yes, people have anonymous sources, of course, but you generally will have some type of verification from that source. Like somebody could call the show, we get emails all the time. Mm-hmm. Someone could email us and say, I know that that Israel was involved in this case, and they could provide us information on that. Well, you still got to verify it. This is what reporters do. I can't just go off of your source.
She has been saying that's what she's been doing. She's been saying that's what she's been doing. I don't know that she has or has not. I'm just saying that she's been saying that's what she's been doing with her sources.
She's been saying it.
Right. So we don't know that she has or has not. I'm just saying this is what she's saying that she has been doing. That's it.
That would be the point, though, of this, right?
You can't prove any more than I can that she has or has
not. It's not on me to prove.
No, to say that she hasn't, I'm not saying to say that she hasn't is just to say, okay, that doesn't mean that she has or has not. All I'm saying is that this part of the discussion, it was just badgering back and forth for it didn't move the needle anywhere.
Well, this is what I'm going to tell you, ladies, and this is the absolute fact, and this is definitive, and it's going to clear up a lot of things. You have to watch the next episode to figure out what she actually said or what she didn't say. Again, genius level marketing. Come on, you guys. Again, two people there for two wholly different reasons. You got to watch the show. You got to watch the next episode to see what she really meant. And if she's bringing an independent so-called internet journalist in who's provided a copy of a receipt, who's purporting that they talked to an owner or a server or other people at this business, the internet is not exclusive to Candace and her fans. The police actually watch it, the FBI, the CIA. It would be interesting to note whether or not law enforcement, remember, this is a criminal case. Can we come back to the reality of it? It's a criminal case. You don't think the cops looked into this?
This is another thing, Nicole. You brought up a very good point. So she has all these sources, all these anonymous sources. Has she gone to the defense to provide them any of this? Have they received any of her sources and taken them and used them in the case? Okay. She has not said that to be the case. She has not said that. So that's another kind of red flag for me. It's just like, well, is the defense using this? Here's the back and forth on X. So she came out on July 17th, says, I'm the one who initially broke this story way back in January, so I can help you out here. I reported that Tyler went to Pangunch and he ordered the steak, medium rare, which came with a side of mashed potatoes and vegetables. She says he did not order any beer, and I made it clear at that time that the cameras at the restaurant were inoperable, but that Tyler paid with his card. I believe I said credit card. Okay, she goes on to say that the receipt you are looking at is real and reflects my reporting. Tyler Robinson did not leave until approximately 10 p.m. that evening. Outside of a bullet train, it's going to be a tough sell to explain how he could have possibly made it back to Orem shortly after midnight in time to be pulled over. Again, we haven't seen any. This should have shut down the preliminary hearing, right? The defense brings this out. What are you talking about? He was here eating steak. How is this something that, you guys have him involved in this? You're accusing him of murder when he could not have been there. Where is the defense on this? And so
the trial hasn't happened yet.
Right, but we've had the preliminary trial, which is for the
prosecution.
Sorry?
Which is for the prosecutor to establish probable cause. It's not a hearing.
But to me, this would have been a situation where they would have said, well, he couldn't have been here. Mm-hmm. Is that, am I wrong on that, Nicole? Or is that not something that comes out in the preliminary?
They could have absolutely brought this up if it was factual. They could have, but here's the thing, the reality of this thing is there are always going to be people who pull a thread, and sometimes you pull a thread and it's just a thread, and sometimes you pull a thread and it unravels the whole damn thing. And I think that she's hoping to one day grab a thread that unravels something completely. This is just not that day. It really isn't.
That's what I'm saying. I agree. But you have some people who are believing that this is real reporting and that she's bringing out real evidence. She hasn't. And that's what I'm trying to say. It just doesn't make sense. It's just, oh my gosh.
I'll put it like this. Mary, I don't know if you want to call it whatever she calls it, evidence, her claims, whatever. Because we have not had the actual trial yet, which I do believe the judge is going to rule that, yes, there's enough probable cause to have one. Because of that, what Candace is doing, in my never to be humble opinion, she is making claims or quote unquote evidence to establish a reasonable doubt, because that's going to be the standard. Not that she has to prove, just like the defense does not have to prove during the trial. The defense has to, or the prosecution has to prove, and then the defense can cross-examine, I guess, or retort with enough information, evidence, proof, or whatever to establish a reasonable doubt, because that's the actual and the final standard. Is there enough evidence, or is there reasonable doubt to acquit Tyler Robinson? And I think that's probably what Candace may be doing.
We have a super chatter here.
This is Shawarma. Sorry if I'm not saying your name
Shawarma.
correctly. Shawarma. Thank you, Shawarma, for your $10. So glad I found your channel. I'm a Jew who exited the Dem Party after October 7th. Refreshing relating to others from a minority who defied the stereotype based on consistent logic and common sense. Thank you,
very much,
Shawarma.
Shawarma.
I'm sorry. I'm going to get it right, Shawarma. Come back again. I'll get it right. I'll practice.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, folks. Again, your super chats go a long way in keeping us online and putting out this content. Again, we are smart, edgy, and conservative. We push back against the left. So if that's what you are about, if that's what you want to do, you're in the right place, because that's what we do here. So please like, share, and subscribe to this broadcast. All right. Well, honestly, I've had enough of this. It's just, again, it's just back and forth. No real, they didn't get anywhere today. Well, I'll say I did feel like he did. Again, I was one who went in thinking she was going to come out with some type of evidence. I really did. She didn't. And so it just kind of reiterated what I thought from the beginning. So I think that he poked holes in what she does. I do. Folks in the chat, sound off. Let us know what you think. Is there anyone in the chat that has been following Candace in her shows and this made you think differently of her after watching this? I'm curious to see your thoughts there. But I do still encourage everyone to go watch this on PBD's podcast. I think he still did. I'm glad that he was able to do this. He was a trusted source for them to go to and rely on, and that he would provide them with a space to make this be a moderate. You know, he was able to moderate that. So, all right. Well, let's move on, folks. All right. We got a lot more to cover here tonight. So, want to change gears a little bit here and talk about what's going on in Michigan. Folks, CNN is just put out a stunning poll that Michigan voters are now, they've given Mike Rogers a pretty substantial lead in this Senate race. This may change the trajectory of the Senate. Take a look here. This is clip 1.
Rogers versus Elside. Look at this, a new Fox News poll. Rogers is actually up by 4 points. He's up by 4 points. It's close, but a Republican is ahead in Michigan. And why? Why? What is going on? Look among independents. Rogers actually leads by 5. This is extremely unusual because across the political map, as I was looking at these different Fox News polls, I couldn't find another example where the Republican was actually leading among independents. And it turns out that candidate quality may in fact matter, at least in terms of how voters see it, because in this same poll, the Democratic candidate for governor was ahead. So this is unique to the Senate race, and it is quite a troubling result for Democrats and quite a heartening one for Republicans.
So do you have a sense then, Harry, of what it is that is contributing to the struggles, right, that Abdul El-Sayed is it that Rogers is a stronger candidate, or is it that El-Sayed has more issues for voters to deal with?
It is all about Abdul El-Sayed. He is a weak candidate, at least by the metrics that we normally look at. And you can just take a look here. Okay, the net favorability rating of the Dem Senate candidates across these northern battlegrounds. You'll notice there's only one candidate, Ren, one who has an unfavorable rating higher than his favorable rating, and it is significantly higher. Look how far underwater Abdul El-Sayed is. He is 13 points underwater, under their Lake Michigan. My goodness gracious.
Wow. So, as we mentioned, Michigan is critical. It's a critical battleground that has been decisive that's going to be decisive for Senate control. Nicole, what are your thoughts on this?
You know, I'm not a big believer in polls because, you know, you can manipulate data any old which way you want to. However, I do think his recent uptick in very weird public appearances is definitely hurting him. You know, I don't know who's running his campaign, but every single time he appears standing next to Hassan Piker, every single time they're playing these old video clips and bringing up his old quotes about how much he hates America and this and this. It is just eroding away at that base, not eroding away at people who already didn't like him. The politicos didn't like him. It's starting to trickle down to everyday people now. It's become so saturating, so completely saturated that regular people who the only political thing they do is maybe watch 5 or 10 minutes of the news are now aware of what they're calling poor candidate quality when it comes to El Sayed. It's going to be an uphill battle. The best thing that he could do is maybe be by himself, maybe not, you know, show up with people who say America deserved 9/11. Because I saw that in one day, an ad that said that, a meme that said that had to be at least 40 times. And that's how saturated that story has become. He is going to drown because of the people he associates with. And there's nothing that he can do unless he changes that tune really quickly. However, those are the same people who are bankrolling his campaign. So I don't know how successfully he can disconnect.
Yeah. Charlie, what are your thoughts on this?
I think Michigan's, I'll call it the blue collar workers, if you will, and generally the higher income blue collars, because Michigan is a part of that Midwest, that kind of little bit of Rust Belt, the auto industry is there. I think real Americans just don't buy him. They're just not taken and smitten with, this Islamist, I'm calling him that. This Islamist, certainly this Islamic takeover, if you will. I mean, hell, Dearborn is pretty much gone. I think real Americans are just sick and tired of it. So they are not willing to bet their state on the Muslim. I know that might sound Islamophobic or whatever, xenophobic. I don't care if it does sound that way. I don't think that's what Michiganders want and are willing to do. They see what's going on in New York City. They see what's going on in Dearborn in their own state. And so they're a little eerie about it. So at this election day, it's still not too, the margins are not that wide yet, but okay, Rogers is in the lead. But again, if El Sayed, whatever his name is, El Sayed, he keeps playing, trying to play it a little soft on the fence, but again, aligning with the likes of Hassan Piker and other progressives, Islamists, if you will. I think Michiganders are going to be, they're going to be a little bit more wise by the end of this election.
Yeah, folks, sound off in the chat and let us know what you think about this race. Again, this is a closely watched race. Still a lot of time before the midterms actually come out, but it looks good so far for the right. So for Republicans, if they're able to flip this seat, which I don't think has flipped since, was it early 2000s? Do you know? Yeah,
it's been a while, but I'm going to tell
Michigan went for Trump though. Anyway, Michigan went for Trump, period, for the presidential, but the Senate seat was right.
Yeah, the Senate seat is what I'm speaking of, right?
So I think it's going to be interesting. This is going to be a very, very interesting October. We can look forward to October surprises, and I would not be at all shocked if the October surprise that comes out for Mr. Al Sayed is something that devastates his campaign.
Ooh, wow. You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first. So we're going to continue to pay close attention to this race. This is a battleground state, as I mentioned earlier. And if we get this, it'll be a lot easier to keep control of the Senate. All right. Well, one section of the populace that is not happy with socialists and not happy with El Sayed are Black voters. All right. And we're not talking about Michigan. We're talking about Chicago. Take a look at this next clip. A Black Chicagoan, a Black Chicago resident supports President Trump's federal crackdown. This is clip 2.
Reaction was that this is a good thing. I think that the governor as well as the mayor should be on board with it just so we can get a bit more of security in Chicago the way that we need.
The crime has dropped since 2024. Do you feel like the city feels safer?
No, not at all.
All right. There you have it. You heard her. Shelly, what do you think about that?
Hey, bring on more of them. I mean, bring on more of them. Black Americans, Black people, if you will, particularly if you're in high crime areas, many of them, if not all of them, they actually want to live too. They want to live and breathe, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They may not say that. Even if they vote Democrat, they ultimately want to live and have life and pursue happiness for themselves and their families. So that's just common sense. This reporter seems to be surprised again. You can have a stat that says crime is down or the economy is good, but then what you need to do is get at the real life, real people in everyday life, how it really is affecting them or not, to what degree. Those are the questions that need to be asked. And so this lady asked her, and she said, no, bring on more troops.
Absolutely. I mean, it sounded like she was supporting Trump's crackdown. Nicole, what are your thoughts here?
Well, she doesn't want to die. I mean, let's just keep it a buck. When you see college students being gunned down, broad daylight, yeah, that raises an eyebrow. And Chicago has a weekend's murder rate that most states don't see all year, and it becomes normalized. And I applaud this young woman for not wanting this to be the normal. If there's a way to stop this from being what we have to endure to live here, then let's do that. I didn't see that more so as a political thing. I see that as Shelly is saying, a life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness thing. I don't want to die because I've chosen to live in the city. I don't want to die because we've normalized, gun violence and shootings and all of these things. But the most interesting part is how surprised the reporter was.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you shocked? You think Black folk want to die? Is that what we're doing? Because she's young and Black, she should, lean on the side of criminality? Is that what you were thinking? Black folk want to live too. We definitely don't want to be killed. We don't want to be killed by a Black man or Black woman, a white man or white woman, Chinese. It doesn't make us any difference. We don't want to die living in the city. We want to have a nice life like everyone else. That reporter's reaction was the story, not what the girl said. Her reaction to what she said made that story for me. Honey, put your prejudice away and just get the facts.
Yeah. I mean, we have seen in cities all over the country, Chicago, Baltimore, I believe Philadelphia, crime is down. Crime is down in many of these areas, at least when you compare it to the spike of 2020. But a lot of people who live in these areas don't feel like crime is down. Mm-hmm. When you look at the numbers, though, it does support it. Shootings and non-fatal gun violence have roughly been flat or modestly higher in various windows, but they definitely have been flat since, a couple of years ago. Here in Baltimore, crime is down, shootings are down. But when you talk to residents in these areas, they are not feeling the crime is down. Mm-hmm. Where do you think the disconnect is there, Shelly?
I think there's generally a lag when you or say your family, communities, your city, your state has been devastated by years and years of high crime, particularly murders and non-fatal shootings. For those particular categories. So when you have had to experience that by osmosis, just because you're a resident of that city or state, there's a lag that happens. Yes, thankfully the murders and the non-fatal shootings have come down, but people still have their I guess I'm going to call it their emotions, if you will, their direct and indirect perceptions of how all these crimes made them feel. It doesn't just stop because the crime is down 1 year or 1 month. They still have feelings that have to kind of, I guess, maybe catch up, if you will, to reality. So there's always going to be that lag. But the more important part is where people are living, working, every day of their lives. Can they still go to certain areas, or can they not go anymore? Can they travel safely throughout their city and their state? Mm-hmm. So these are the things when you get down to the issues. Are they able to even has the economy, the local economy, has it resurged, if you will, from all of the devastation that may have been happening? So these are the kind of issues that, again, at the real person level, not just the big stats that can kind of cloud or maybe hide some actual real life, real people in real time perspectives.
Yeah. Nicole, what are your thoughts there? Because when we talk to people on the street, they're not saying they feel like the crime is down.
Right. Well, it's perception versus reality, right? So the statistics say one thing, but when you live in an area, you know, how many murders is an acceptable amount of murders? Mm-hmm. If the person who was murdered was a relative of yours or a neighbor of yours, is crime really down? I mean, when people who are statisticians look at crime, it's a number. It's not related to actual life. When people who live in these areas think of crime, they think about the actuality of the whole thing. And I think that's where people the disconnect occurs. When things happen to you, when it happens in your neighborhood, it becomes a part of your personal experience versus some flat statistic. I mean, walking in Washington, D.C., people who showed up for the A250 events and that kind of thing, much safer than it's ever been, much cleaner than it's ever been. But there were, I think it was last weekend, a group of girls in a car shooting at another group of girls in a house. Now, thank God none of these women went to the range because there was just bullets flying all over the place. Nobody was hurt. But if you lived in that neighborhood, would you agree that you feel safer? No, you wouldn't agree that you feel safer. So when actuality meets up with statistics and flat numbers, there's a huge disconnect. I'm sure the people who were involved in that shooting will tell you DC is the same old DC it's always been. But for those people who were walking out of Union Station and didn't get, the bums bathing in the fountain, they were like, man, look, Trump's cleaned this place up. It's all about your perception of what's real.
Right. I agree there. When you have sort of like this visible disorder and quality of life crime matters more than how people feel. So when we've been seeing, and I literally have seen, retail theft, the smash and grabs, brazen shoplifting, them emptying out the stores right in front of you, the carjackings and the auto theft, this type of open air drug markets. That makes you feel like this is still an unsafe area. These areas are unsafe due to some public disorder and graffiti. And so it kind of goes back to that broken windows, way of policing and things. When the place is uncapped and the broken windows are around, people feel like it's unsafe. Okay. And this has been a long, that's a whole policing and way, politicians do treat urban areas. It's been sort of like that's been a contentious way of doing things. People have been on each side saying, well, that's a good way to do it, and it's not a good way to do it. But in New York City, they're actually going through that again. Okay. So we're sitting here talking about how people are feeling unsafe, and it may be due to this broken windows policing or the way people keep the city. Well, socialists in New York City are calling on Mayor Mondami to scale back on going after these types of crimes. Poverty, what they're calling crimes of poverty, shoplifting, vandalism, public urination, broken windows stuff. This is clip 4.
Calling what it is, broken windows policing.
Critics say it's a betrayal that the NYPD is still enforcing so-called low-level offenses, despite Mayor Mamdani's promise to shift the department's focus.
Mayor Mamdani was elected on a promise of making New York a livable city for all, ending the criminalization of poverty, mental health, substance use, and homelessness.
Criminal justice advocates with Court Watch NYC monitored 360 arraignments over 4 days and claimed that more than half were for misdemeanor offenses.
Most of what we saw were crimes of poverty, people who were stealing things like toothpaste, people who were stealing things like, soap. And that means if you're stealing those things, you need them.
Advocates believe that shoplifting or bringing bags of trash onto the trains or sleeping in the subway should not be criminally prosecuted. Neither should graffiti vandalism and public urination, even fare evasion. Former NYPD Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce disagrees, especially for repeat offenders.
Really, you have to go make those arrests. Otherwise, you have chaos in the street.
Jessica Tisch made her priorities clear when she was first appointed to lead the department under Mayor Adams.
The mission is to keep you safe, to make you feel safe, and to improve your quality of life.
I asked Mayor Mamdani today whether he supported the commissioner's approach.
Are you confident that she is executing your vision for policing in New York City?
Yes. I would not have someone serving our city if I was not confident in what they were doing.
The NYPD has cut misdemeanor arrests by 50%, down to a rate that has remained unchanged since 2018.
All right. So again, that broken windows policing.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts there, Nicole?
You know, New York is on fire. This is what I can say. And NYC is burning. It is absolutely burning. You know, the woman with the unfortunate bangs who made the comment about they're stealing soap, they're stealing toothpaste. They're not stealing one tube of toothpaste. They're not stealing one bar of soap or one jar of body wash. They steal multitudes of it, and they don't steal it because they need it. They steal it so they can sell it, you jackass. Have you not been to New York City? Do you not see the people on the street with their sheet out and there's 35,000 Dove body washes laying out, and you can buy it for $5 cash instead of $19 in the store? I mean, give me a break. I get that there are some crimes of poverty. There are some people who will steal a loaf of bread, just one loaf. But those are also the people who would be able to, you know, apply to social services and get one of New York's multi-million programs to help them, right? The problem is now those programs are flooded with people who don't actually need the help. The people who say, well, it's free shit, I should get some. I'm a New Yorker. I elected him. I'm signing up for all the free things. This is unintended consequences of everybody wanting something for free. The people who actually need it don't get the help that they need because the bums are taking over. It is so crazy to watch people who have no idea what the hell they're doing lead what used to be one of the greatest cities in the world. It is absolutely insane to me. People get set on fire on these trains. People are assaulted on these trains. Having people sleeping on the train with all the things that they own is not a good idea. It never has been a good idea. There's a reason why it's illegal. There's a reason.
Yeah. Shelly, what are your thoughts on what they said?
Well, I'm going to answer this way. The Scrapping Beauty, she's asking, so if she buys a bar of soap, does she have to pay for her bar and, you know, just the other one that was stolen, basically? No, actually, Scrapping Beauty, all you got to do is steal it. Just go steal it.
Walk right out the door. Just go on.
You just steal your bar of soap or 2 or 3 and you'll be fine. So don't even worry about it. But the images just came to my mind is that New York City is turning into the Skid Row of Los Angeles. That's basically what it looks like it's turning into, and pretty damn quickly. I mean, not even a year in, okay? This is what's happening to that great city. So I don't know what to say. I know that some people do steal, maybe some homeless people, they may go into a store and steal, I don't know, a soda or whatever the case may be. But don't we have enough, more than enough, what are the NGOs and nonprofits, this and that, all kinds of, you know, agencies that are taxpayer funded. We don't even know how many there are, but we have taxpayer funded programs in every city that, you know, New York included, Baltimore here. They take our money, their programs to feed the homeless, to you know, to shelter people, all kinds of low income, means tested, any kind of program you want, drug, needle exchange, all kinds of things. Need free drugs. Matter of fact, you can go in and get high in some damn cities in the clinics that they have set up. So there's what reason is there for them to steal? What reason? There is no legitimate reason for 99% of the people who are stealing except to do what Nicole says.
Yeah. And the small problems create an environment where bigger problems become easier. So when you have these open air drug dealing, the vandalism, all this type of stuff, this is what causes more crime, because criminal behavior is attracted to these types of areas. So it's really crazy. I mean, And who wants to go through a neighborhood that smells like piss? Okay, when you go through some of these areas, the whole area smells like pee. It is terrible. You know, you want to, the environment that you're in, walking or living in, you know, doing groceries and running errands in, that does have a direct effect on your personality, you know, how you feel and how you act too. And so this is why, you know, this idea of the broken windows policing, it actually works. Because if you're in an area that's clean, that's free of graffiti, you know, you're not seeing prostitutes and all this type of stuff on the corners, you're less likely to commit a crime because you're thinking, okay, these people, this area is well managed, so I don't know if I can act up in here. I got to go down, you know, in the other area where they're doing all this stuff out in the open. But they're advocating for this. These socialists are advocating for it, and it absolutely makes no sense to me, none. But guess what, folks? Americans are getting tired of this woke stuff. They're getting tired of it. You know, we saw all over the social media recently, the woke 1 and woke 2. Have you ladies been seeing that where people are talking about there was woke 1, now this is woke 2? Well, Americans are just tired of woke. Take a look here. This is clip 3.
Calling me a cis woman. I'm a straight woman. Don't know why you had to make up another thing for that. Stop calling me a birthing person. I'm a mom. Stop making shit weird. Stop saying that I'm chest feeding is breastfeeding, okay? If you can actually breastfeed a baby, then you're a woman and you're breastfeeding. Stop saying everything white people do is racist. You're making yourself a victim and keeping racism actually going by yourself. Stop telling women that we don't understand womanhood and that we don't have the proper or most beautiful understanding of it and that trans people do. That's fucked up. Stop saying that trans women, which are guys, by the way, are more women than women are. You're a guy. That's fucked up. I'm so, like, violently sick at the thought of the world right now because you guys are mentally ill as fuck. Like, yeah, I might be slightly crazy, but you're fucked up. And stop saying I'm transphobic. That would mean I have a phobia, a fear. I'm not scared of you. I just don't like the shit you guys say anymore. You guys are disagreeable as hell. You're insane. And I really genuinely want you guys to realize that you saying you care about women's rights and then single-handedly trying to take away all of women's rights and everything that real women are makes you the most against women's rights people on the planet. I hope you get that. Oh, and one last thing. Stop demanding that everyone have respect for you. I don't care. That's stupid. Stop demanding everyone call you what you want to be called.
There it is. She went down the laundry list of stuff. But people are tired. I was right there with her too on a lot of that stuff. Shelly, what are your thoughts?
Well, I have to agree with this lady here. I've been saying this for years. You know, I'm a chick, not a dick, and dicks that pretend that they're chicks, they're just not it. So that's just not it. They're not going to move me one way or the other. You know, she was right. I like her delivery too. She was so, I guess, stoic about it, right? She was so stoic. She was funny, but I don't even think she was trying to be funny. So yeah, this is some of these things, or many of the things, if not all of them that she mentioned. No, this is not going to happen. I'm not going to call a man a woman. If I'm transphobic, then call it whatever you want it to mean. Just like you can call me racist, you can call me xenophobic, you can call me homophobic, whatever the case may be. I don't care. Yeah, people are tired of it.
Yeah. Nicole, what are your thoughts here?
I agree with her. For too long, I'd probably say maybe the last 8 to 10 years, the tail has been wagging the dog in this nation. You know, the small handful of weirdos have been demanding that the rest of the nation follow their lead, or we're going to call you this newfound name that's going to hurt your feelings and you'll be publicly shamed. You know, we'll take to social media and we'll make your life a living hell. America's pretty much over it. And I say that because what we're seeing is more and more young people who are walking away from these kind of prejudices and bias, they have bigger fish to fry at this point. It doesn't matter that you want women to be called chest feeders, birthing people and all of that. They say, no, that's my mom. She's a woman. She's a mother, right? Coming back to the middle is going to be a beautiful thing, because the pendulum for a while was so far to the weirdo left that they couldn't even keep up. They could, if you walked up to somebody and says, what does it mean to be cis? What does the CIS mean? What does it mean? And most people in America are like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't even know what this means. But it's supposed to be adopted as new language. It's supposed to be the new thing. The problem with them is they rolled out too many new things at once, and nobody was able to keep up with all of their bullshit. So we're overwhelmed. People are like, okay, I don't know what it means, so I'm just going to take it as disrespect. We don't want any more of your crazy, if it's woke 1.0, 2.0, whatever it is, we don't want it. We just want to live a happy life. Can we do something about the gas prices? You know what I mean? Bring it back to the kitchen table. And I'm very hopeful that this is what the GOP is going to do ahead of these midterms, because it's an easy win. Talk about low-hanging fruit. My goodness, easy win.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. Folks, sound off in the chat and let us know what you think. We have some super chatters here. Is that right?
Hi, Josh. How are you? Thank you for your $20, Josh. How are you? Sophie Cunningham won her opening basketball game tonight for the Indiana Fever. Oh, okay. Congratulations. That's good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her.
All right. Do we have it? I thought we had one more. Let me see here. That was Josh. Okay, maybe. Did we get everything? Okay.
Delona, thank you for your $2. Hey, ladies, Cox from Maryland. Okay. All righty. Okay, Delona. From your mouth to God's ears.
Right. All right. Well, folks, that does it for us tonight. We will be back on Monday night at 9 p.m. Final thoughts, ladies, before we file out tonight. Nicole, quick thought from you.
Listen, it's the weekend, and I'm going to steal some of Shelly's stuff. Go out and touch some grass, you guys. Today was a difficult day for people who knew and loved Charlie Kirk, or people who just love Charlie Kirk. This debate was unfortunate. It was ill-fated. It brought up some hurt that I thought I had already dealt with, but clearly had not. And if I'm being very honest with you, I needed that like I needed a hole in the head. However, it's over. It's behind us. It's a Band-Aid moment. Let's go criminal trial. And for those of you who don't know, you can watch said criminal trial on our other show, The Right Verdict, where we have 3 voices, one standard of justice. We are definitely going to be covering the trial. We're going to stream the parts that they allow us to stream, but it's going to be very interesting. It comes on every Thursday at 10 p.m. Yes, it's late, but it's late because we're going to be covering some adult themes, and we want the little kiddies to be in bed before we get there.
All right. Shelly, final thoughts?
Yeah. I want to wrap it up. We started off talking about the debate, the discussion with Candace and Andrew, and PBD as the moderator. And again, I said I wasn't going to name a winner or a loser, but I think I am now. Although I watched the debate, is what it's called, the great debate. I watched it because I wanted to be at least informed about what was going on. I think the winner, if you will, if it has to be one, was Michael Knowles. I so appreciated him bowing out or not accepting to be a moderator for the reasons that he gave in his own words. You can go look on his channel and see what he said. But I thought that was I thought it was beautiful. I just thought it was beautiful and honorable what he did or what he didn't do and why he did it. He gave his statement. He was classy about it. He was not pejorative. He was not mocking. He was not condescending. But he said, why he would not moderate. And I just thought that if anybody's a winner, it would be Michael Knowles. So that would be my hat tip up to Michael Knowles for tonight for that.
All right. All right. Same here, folks. You can catch me on Sunday night at 9 p.m. You can catch Michelle and I on Christian Conservative. Got to go back and watch Thursday night show. It was really good. We talked about the education system and the importance of homeschooling moms and dads out there. So certainly go back and check that out at KJ Christian Conservative, and then we'll be back this Sunday at 9 p.m. All right. I always say on Christian Conservative, we stand for truth. And I think it's more important than ever right now that we as a country, as a community, as individuals stand on truth. Okay. Stand up for truth, push back against these lies and deception, because we're living in a time of great deception. So many people are deceived. But it's time for us to stand up, and it's time for us to pick a side, okay? And this is what I continue to say. I say this a lot on Christian Conservative. I'm saying it here, folks. We got to stand up against these lies. And I agree with you, ladies. Sometimes you don't want to give it air, but then sometimes you do got to push back against it. And so this is what we try to do here, and on all of our platforms here. We try to get the truth out in its purest form, the truth. All right. So again, folks, we will see you on Monday night, same time, 9 p.m. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Good night.
What's up, everybody? This is Poppin' Politics. Get your merch. Are you a Poppin' Politics fan? Are you unapologetically American? Or not black, not white American? We got it all for you right here. Get your merch.
Get the classic shirt. Classic. Goes with everything, comes in a variety of colors. Smart, edgy, conservative, like us, like you. This is a great way to support the channel. Click the merch button.
There is no shame in being an American. Get your shirt today and be unapologetic about it. Get your shirt, wear it, and be a proud American.
You can get it all in t-shirts and hoodies. You can get it in stickers, on bags. You can get it all on our website, metroconservativemedia.com, or our YouTube page, Pop and Politics, and tag over to store. You can get your merch and show you're proud to be an American and support Pop and Politics.